So here we are, I'm doing my first video on pouring. I've taken Elmer's glue, some fairly cheap white, and some water, and I get about that. So a medium consistency. Do the same thing with some black. You can hear the workers next door with their music and their machines going and the cars outside. I'm here at the Open Ground Studios, which is my little studio space. So this black is about the same consistency. Maybe a little thinner than the white, that's okay. And what I like to do is to paint the sides. And I know I'm going to run black and white that way, so I'll take these two sides and paint them in black. I can't see that, but trust me, I'm painting the sides black. And it doesn't have to be tremendously perfect. It's likely the pour will drip down the sides anyways. This makes it so that when I do the pour, I'm not having to concentrate so much on getting it to cover the edges as well as the face. Sort of seems obvious, but anyways, that's what I like to do. I've been experimenting with creating cells, and cells are created in this particular case by just using Elmer's glue, period, and paint. Brush off a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just the edges. And I'll do the white. Other thing that I find important to know if you're starting doing pouring is you're going to get paint all over you, so enjoy. And that's why it's nice to work in acrylics for this particular type of painting. That kind of got gray on me, but that's all right, I don't mind. By the way, I didn't tell you, my name is Lee Garland. I'm a 72-year-old man. I just, after all these years, I've made a lot of music in my life, and I've done a lot of theater and interior design, a lot of different things in my life. And all of a sudden, in the later part of my life, I've discovered something called painting, and particularly this Dutch pour. So I'm going to just pour basically half, going up diagonally with the black. And hopefully get that all to fill in, a little extra on the edges. Save just a tad for the end in case I need it. I'll see if I can let that dribble or pour. It seems to be working. What I want to do is get the whole surface covered. Like I said, it drips all over the place, so you have to enjoy a good drip. You have to enjoy getting it all over your arms, which I do. So I'm just letting it all kind of drip down and cover the canvas. Sometimes you can kind of touch the edge and it'll draw the paint down a little bit. And sometimes it's about waiting for those last little bits. You can scoop paint up off that's already dripped off, kind of that. Okay, and I'm working with standoffs, these little plastic beauty bombs. All right, so there's our black diagonal. Now I'll take our white diagonal and just run that all the way up, down, back, around, just like we did with the black. Now I'm going to kind of smooth a little bit with a stick, just because if I start moving the canvas around, it'll make that black one move. Oops, I got some of the black in there. Nice thing about pouring is you really kind of don't know what's going to happen. So, what is it? Mr. Ross, Bob Ross used to say, happy accidents. So, we have lots of happy accidents. Okay, and that's good enough for me. Now, I've got to do my hands because obviously it's a mess. So, now I'm going to take some color that I have ready in some little squeeze bottles. And frankly, what I'm going to do is use up some of this paint I've had it for a little while. And I have an idea for these colors. I'm using a little bit of silver metallic, some kind of light purple, a darker purple, and I've mixed these quite thin, some red, some electric orange, and some yellow. And so what I'm going to do, well, I should probably shake it first, is I'm going to take this yellow, and I'm just going to kind of start down here and run it up all the way up and off. And I'll do the same thing with this red. Kind of do little curly cues for some reason. And the purple, I'm not sure about that red, kind of pasty. See what we can do. Maybe the purple will help too. Hello. Anybody home? And then I kind of puddle. I like to kind of puddle in a few places just to let that color come out. I don't think we're going to do that electric orange because this red has already been nutty enough. I'll do this silver. And oftentimes it's a good idea when you're doing this is to take some white at the end and give a little bit of white. Okay, that's what our pour looks like. That's what our pour looks like. That's about the best I can do. So, generally you want to take a torch and torch out any bubbles, but at this point it hardly matters. Huh? We'll do it anyways. I do happen to have a torch. And let's make sure that there are no bubbles starting. Okay. Actually, I'm already starting to see cells develop in this. Now, let's take a hairdryer. We'll give it the old one too. I think the old 1-2 is pretty much 1-2. Very similar to the new 1-2. Okay, 1-2. Here we go. So you can see that it's definitely creating a lot of cells, and there's some interest in it. I think what I'd like to do is to finger swipe. We got interrupted there by a phone call, but I kept working on it and I started doing tilting, which of course is something you can do with this sort of art to develop kind of the look that you want. And to be completely honest with you, this is only okay. Let me try some more blowing here. Okay, stop. There's a lot of cells that have opened up here. And I'm not really swift on this big purple thing here. Maybe I'll work. Yeah, I think that's better. It is kind of amazing how just using white glue, all these little cells are created. Let me try a little. I'm sorry about that. Oh, stop it. Okay. Let me try seeing if there's any bubbles here. If it doesn't really do anything, it's an awful lot of fun to do. So I'm going to call that done for right now. Thanks for watching this.